certainly nothing, if you will, to write home about. But at the bottom right there, they designated Julius Peppers a franchise player. He's yet to sign that tender, Steve Wyche, and that is where I think the state of this franchise currently lies. Will it move forward with Julius Peppers, or will they grant Peppers the exit visas he wants to go play in, the style of defense that he wants to play in the 3-4? And I guess the question is, why would Carolina grant that request? I mean, is he that unhappy? Did he make things that miserable just for him to be around in Carolina?
Well, I've heard from players that Julius Peppers has kind of wanted out of that situation in Carolina for the past couple of years, which is interesting. But I don't think Carolina wants to let him go, which is why they put that franchise tag on, and they're eating up $16.5 million in their salary cap, which is why they can't make any moves. But this situation, the fact that he hasn't signed it, they can't negotiate with him. But once he signs that, I think there could be some trade talks. We've heard talks about the New England Patriots possibly getting into play, and that's not just hearsay. Those are some legitimate talks apparently going on, not necessarily between the teams, because they can't, again, until he signs that tender.
He's got to sign the tender first. So why, if he wants out, does he not sign this tender?
That's a very good question. I mean, we don't know, because he can't solidify a long-term deal or anything with Carolina either until he signs a tender. So maybe he's going to see what goes on in the draft, what other teams are doing to maybe situate themselves, and then maybe he'll sign the tender, but he says, you know what, I don't want to play here. Then it could get down to a staring match between the Panthers and Peppers to see if they say, you know what, you're going to play here, and you're going to play under this tender, we're not going to trade you. Or they may say, we're going to trade you, get back some compensation, and then maybe move on without you. But that compensation, with that, they better get somebody to replace a 3-down defensive end who is just as productive in getting pressure on quarterbacks and playing against the run as Julius Peppers.
Because word has it that, the neat, I guess, sort of way to cut it out is that he signs a tender, New England gives Carolina the second-round pick that they just got for Matt Castle, and voila, the 34th overall pick in the draft, the New England Patriots turn Matt Castle, who never played a down in the NFL or started a game since high school prior to last year, they turn him into Julius Peppers just like that. Is that really possible? That can actually happen?
You can't say anything's not possible. Maybe that could happen. Maybe they want New England's first-round pick. Carolina doesn't have a first-round pick. They traded last year to Philadelphia. They got Jeff Otah back to tackle. Good switch. I traded, I should say. But you just really don't know what can happen here. But this is not a settled situation anywhere close to it right now.
Yeah, at this point, Carolina can smoke them if they got them in the first round and a half of the NFL draft. They don't choose until 59th overall. Who might they choose once they are on the clock? Maybe they do go defense, as Mike Mayock and Brian Billick point out.
New defensive coordinator and Ron Nix, new philosophy?
Sure it is. Obviously, he comes from a totally different philosophy from what John Fox was leaned in. Ron Meeks coming out of the Tony Dungy school of thinking they don't have a first-round pick, so that's going to limit them a little bit.
When you're picking 59, you can't sit there and say, I want this guy or that guy. You've got to be willing to move around the board and get the best player available, hopefully at a position of need. So when I look at Carolina, I like a guy like Ron Brace from Boston College, to quote other defensive tackles. Brace is 330 pounds, is that two-gapping run stuffer. I think he's a great pick in the second round.
You team him with Kim Otis, who was with us in Baltimore and now in Carolina. That's a pretty strong presence on the inside.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later when you talk NFC West for draft options. That's the state of Carolina Panthers franchise on this show. We'll begin next week by looking at the state of the franchise of